Yeah, obviously excited to get out of here with a W. Good credit to Indiana, hard-fought game. I showed the guys last night, really, since they had their bye week. They made some changes on their coaching staff, and really, I think their first game was against Michigan, and they were up early on them. Then came back and had a Penn State game and made it a four-quarter game, and then obviously the win over Wisconsin last week. So I thought coming in, we knew we were going to have a test on our hands, and our guys kept being perseverance and battling back. I give a lot of credit to the guys that made plays in the end. What needed to happen, obviously, defense, tale of two halves, and then kind of at the end fell apart. But we lost some key personnel, and the guys stepped up to the challenge, and made their biggest stop defensively in overtime there to force that third down stop, and then kick the field goal. And then I tell you, John Paddock. I'm blown away that he obviously most yards in Memorial history for an Illinois quarterback, just a great indicator. And I've always said this, right? Like long before today, the greatest quarterbacks I've been around are the guys that can make many plays or make plays of nothing, right? And that last play, it kind of broke down. They brought some pressure. He flushed out to his right. Isaiah adjusted and went cross country on that route over there into the boundary, and to see him convert it and make it be the game-winning touchdown was just awesome. So a lot of really good things. Casey Washington got his first touchdown today. I can't believe that. This kid has absolutely been lights out. He's kind of been the unwritten MVP, in my opinion, all year offensively. He's just made big play after big play. Zy Chrysler came back after rolling up his ankle. Caden Fagan went back in after getting banged up. Don't know exactly where he is. So, a lot of guys persevered and came through. It's the end of the year in the Big Ten, and we'll see where we go. So, with that, I'll open up questions. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah.
He did last week, Bret. How do you put into context what he's done? How special is what he did?
He's so since January, he's the same guy every day, right? It's hard to say that, but he just very diligent in his process. He's a guy that works and he plays with a lot of emotion. Before the game, he was in the locker room, got guys fired up on the sidelines. Even last week at practice, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll hear him say things that practice just kind of had a little more zip to it. I think players really respond to him. He'll do some things you're like gonna hit your head upside the wall, but he is absolutely dynamic. Knows his strengths, maximizes his weaknesses, or minimizes his weaknesses. Just really impressive, and the kids really respond to him.
Obviously, a tough day for Taz with the ejection at the end. What was your messaging with him?
With Taz? Yeah. It'll be some extreme messaging. Obviously, the whole game was chippy. This goes back to last year, right? We had a 100-degree locker room last year, and it really just pissed a lot of people off. And so we kind of played off that this year. To be quite honest, there was a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of rinky-dink stuff going on the bottom of the piles. We had a guy get an ankle rolled up, and they punched our holder on field goal. Taz, I don't condone. Obviously, if you spit on the guy, we're going to have a conversation about that. Taz swears up and down. I thought the officials could have got better control of what was going on. There was an early substitution issue that I know is going to be a problem, and they'll call back and say, oh, yeah, we should have done this differently. But, I think as coaches, we have to stand up for our players, right? And on the flip side, our players can't do dumb things, right? There's some chippiness there that just got to walk away. They were really, him and one were into it. I don't think there was a DPI called on our sideline. Every one of them was on that far sideline, and one's a big, tall receiver, but he puts his hands on us. We have a right to defend that. So, yeah, it's turned into a nice little rivalry game with Indiana. Who would have thought?
Did you feel like offensively, Bret, that it was kind of pass kind of set up the run late in the game with Reggie, and you guys were able to get some things going that way?
I think the one thing Barry did today is really adjusted as the game adjusted, right? Like Caden, once he was out, we used him early, right? And he definitely looked good running that. And then when Reggie came in, we had to have a perspective. He wasn't going to be able to just sit in there and bang it out. So, I thought the end of half play, the end of half series, Barry just did a nice job of adjusting the call. He really took control today, in my perspective, of when he had to huddle. And I could see it during the course of the week. I said something to him Tuesday and Wednesday. Just at different, I thought a demeanor with him on Tuesday and Wednesday at practice with John was pretty evident, and I think our players could feel that as well.
19 chunk plays in the passing game out of 24 completions. I mean, just what went into maybe receivers getting open, John finding them in the right place, just to have that kind of production?
Yeah, we thought we thought this game, so on Monday we come together and go around the room and I ask our coaches what they think, right? So I start with the coordinators, and then each coach will kind of talk about their matchups. I'm a big matchup guy, right? So Bart will talk about matching up front. Dish will talk about on the edges with the tight ends and the edge players. And Gio thought going into that game that was a matchup we should win in the back end. He felt really good about where our guys were versus where he saw their DBs, and I think that he preached to them all week about that. I thought it was interesting. Gio, I love it when coaches have a feel for their players better than anybody can understand. And when Isaiah had issue with a punt on that first one, he just said, just stay the course. He's going to be just fine. And then the next play, he's streaking in the end zone. I think Gio did a nice job of getting them in matchups. Barry made a nice job of play concept designing it, and obviously the players executed.
About Casey earlier, but what's he meant to you guys, especially this final year?
Yeah, Casey is one of those things. Especially our journey, right? Like I got here, and I remember talking to him 2 or 3 nights in a row, trying to talk him into staying. He kind of thought we were just going to be a cloud of dust and run everything right, and then he came back with the right reasons, and I kind of made him earn it, right? And then he gets eligible, and then he makes that first big catch for us at Penn State, right? So I thought last spring in spring ball, I literally was like, man, Casey's really having a nice spring. He's really doing something special. He's going to have a special senior year. And then early on in fall camp, he got a concussion, and was out for about 2 weeks. And so everybody kind of, when's Casey going to come back? And then that first game, the way he played, right? And then the 2 plays in the Maryland game. And I thought my moment with him, as a head coach, you always remember these little moments. After the Maryland game, I was in the staff meeting on Sunday, and I said, I always coach with my back to the bench. And I said, who was good on the sidelines? And 2 defensive coaches said, Coach, Casey Washington was unbelievable in that game on our sideline. And I think that's who Casey is. Casey just met with about 10 scouts this week, and one of the things I say to all those guys is, keep your eye on this guy. He's going to be the ideal receiver in that league that can probably play all 3, be valuable in special teams. He called me last Tuesday night of Minnesota week when I talked about number 27 for them, how much he impacts the game in special teams and on defense. And he said, Coach, I want to do that for us. And he asked to be on special teams. So we put him on special teams this week, and that's just how that guy kind of works.
Performances up front on offense, seems like the O-line had a pretty good day.
We've just been getting healthier, right? To be quite honest, it really, this starting O-line that you see now isn't what we thought at the beginning of the year. We've moved, obviously, Isaiah to tackle. Geske, who we thought might be playing right guard, he's playing left guard. Zai, who we thought was playing right tackle, is playing right guard. The place that I've really get excited about is I think the coaching, the development, the perseverance, and then the execution was really, really a big part of what we're seeing here the last 3 or 4 games.
See, Luke has played really well.
Yeah.
And then you have John do what he does.
You want a quarterback controversy?
No, I'm just saying, this seems like a good problem to have. How do you approach it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I literally, during the course of this week, first off, Luke, full transparency, we thought he was going to get cleared, right? But it just, on Tuesday or Wednesday, he was mathematically eliminated from being in the game. But he now has passed that test, so he'll probably be involved from Tuesday forward. But obviously we'll discuss this staff, but John's done a lot of really good things and putting himself in this position. And the good news is you got 2 quarterbacks. And to be quite honest, Donovan Leary, the last month has been as good as he ever has been in our program. So kind of excited about a guy we've got recruited to. So there's a lot of fun things coming. I think it's exciting for me right now to be the head coach here, knowing what we have, but more importantly, what's to come. Yeah.
Bye week that allowed him to step right in for Pat and make plays.
So Ashton this year is really, and you guys know his story, right? Like his background, his history, 2 parents that are hearing disabled, right? Like just his whole journey. Last night, he asked me if he could give the prayer for dinner, and he got up and he spoke in front of the team, just like his volume, his context. I always say volume reflects confidence. And to see this kid grow the way he has this year, and then today to get in those moments. So he made a huge play on the sideline, and then we didn't want to go to review there, so we ran a quick play, right? And he took that play and turned it into 5-6 yards, right? Just really, again, him and Gio, he's in that office all the time. He's always in number 1's hip, like he's like a little shadow with Isaiah. So completely different size and stature, but it's kind of fun to see those guys grow.
Matt Rusetich done to put himself in that role.
Yeah. He's screaming for an NIL hairdo, right? Mac Rusetich, he's probably one of my favorite kids. Like, I'm always giving this guy a little grief. He's kind of up near my neck of the woods, right? There'll be practices where he'll have like 4 or 5 picks in a practice, right? Like, he's just got an incredible knack for the ball. I knew Aaron really wanted to get him involved in the game this week, and then that play was really kind of what we see every day at practice. He just reads, reacts, and breaks. You know, for him to be in high school football last year, I think he had a half baseball scholarship to Sauk Valley Community College, right? He wasn't even going to go play college football until we offered him. So I'm glad he listened, and I'm glad he came.
4 games, Bret. Was your team showing?
Yeah, anytime you can piece ones together, we just hadn't been able to do that since, you know, going back to, I guess, the 3-game run against Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, and then we had a bye week and got Nebraska, and then we hadn't been able to do a back-to-back win since then. So to win in the Big Ten, you know, and this wasn't a West opponent, but to win and keep our drive alive for what we can do, there's still things out there that aren't mathematically eliminated. I gave these guys a schedule 2 weeks ago to check off every day and take advantage of it and see where we get on Saturdays. And this is 2 back-to-back Saturdays to see where they go. I think Iowa plays Rutgers today. Is that who they got? You know, so we'll obviously do that, break down. We got a 2:30 game next week in Kinnick. I'm excited to go. Last year I caught COVID, the last time we went over there, so I was watching from a Airbnb, so I'm kind of excited to make this trip, hopefully.
Scott's good. All good.
I was going to ask that.
All right.
All good?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, fellas.